My home was located deep in the woods, in a remote village. When I moved here, I wanted to escape the bustling life and technology of the city, to live in harmony with nature. However, I soon realized that this decision would come at a grave cost. One night after a rainy summer day, I was sitting in my house reading a book. It was past midnight. A strong wind had started outside. The creaking of the house with the gusts and the howls from the depths of the forest made me uneasy. But with the peace of moving away from the city and coming here, I quickly dismissed these sounds. Then I heard a timid knock on my door. Curious about who could be at the door at this hour, I slowly approached. Opening the door, I saw a young girl, drenched from the rain with a pale face and big eyes. She wore an old-fashioned dress and her hair was messy. "Help me," she whispered shakily. "I'm lost in the forest." I invited her in. I seated her by the fire and gave her a blanket to dry off. However, the girl was silent, merely observing her surroundings with her eyes. She answered my questions with one-word responses or simply nodded. I prepared a room for her to spend the night. After she went upstairs, I started browsing an old photo album of mine. It had old family pictures. But on the last page of the album, I saw an old photograph taken in the forest. In the photo was a girl who looked exactly like the girl at my door. However, this photograph was taken a full 100 years ago. In horror, I ran upstairs. When I entered the girl's room, it was empty. Only the moonlight filtering in through the open window and a gentle breeze were present. As I moved in the direction the girl had gone, I encountered an old gravestone. On it was the name of a young girl who died exactly 100 years ago. Lily. A cold hand touched my shoulder. When I turned around, I saw Lily with eyes glowing red. "I've been waiting for you," she said. I started being drawn to her involuntarily, but with each step, I was sinking further into darkness. When I woke up, I was in the forest, seeing the lights of my own house in the distance. No matter how loudly I screamed, no one could hear me. And now, every rainy night, I wander as a lost soul in the depths of the forest, searching for a way to return home. Yet every time, that terrifying dream starts all over again. Lisa lived on the outskirts of the city in a quiet house by the edge of the forest with her children. The house was surrounded by woods, and the nearest neighbor was a half-hour walk away. Right next to the house was an old well, and Lisa frequently warned her children not to go near it. One day, Lisa's old friend, Jane, came to visit for a few days. While chatting in the evening, they heard a strange sound coming from the well. Jane asked, "What's that noise?" Lisa replied, "Sometimes the wind creates strange sounds inside the well." But the worry on her face was evident to Jane. The next morning, as Lisa's young son Tom ran towards the well, he was caught just in time by Jane. In Tom's hand was an old rusted key. "I found it by the well," he said. Jane and Lisa looked at each other in astonishment. That key was the old house key that had belonged to Lisa's grandmother and had been missing for years. That evening, the two women gathered around the well. Jane said, "Maybe someone threw this key in there." Lisa responded, "But there's no one else here." Yet both admitted they felt an eerie feeling inside. As the days went on, strange occurrences in the house increased. Doors would suddenly shut. Radios would turn on and off by themselves. One morning, Jane found an old photo in Lisa's bedroom. The photo depicted a young woman standing by the well. When she showed it to Lisa, she turned pale. The woman must have been Lisa's grandmother, but she had never seen this photo before. Jane mused, "Maybe your grandmother wants to tell us something," Lisa countered. "Or perhaps these are just oddities caused by the wind." But neither could shake the unsettling feeling inside. When Jane's visit ended, the two embraced and said their goodbyes. Back in the city, Jane decided to investigate the old house's mysteries. Maybe it wasn't just the wind causing these strange events. When Jane returned to Lisa with the information she'd found, she believed that Eleanor's death was indeed a murder. The increasing strange happenings within the house were making Lisa more anxious. Eleanor's spirit must have been seeking justice. One evening, as Jane and Lisa sat in the house, they heard a recurring scream from the well. They ran quickly towards it, seeing a silhouette inside. It seemed Eleanor's spirit was signaling to them. Lisa said, "Maybe we need to set her spirit free," Jane asked. "But how?" Lisa decided to read the old diary she found in the house, hoping to discover Eleanor's favorite things. Perhaps by dropping them into the well, they could set her spirit free. However, their plan backfired. After throwing Eleanor's beloved items into the well, the strange occurrences in the house intensified. The lights went out, doors shut on their own, and sometimes Eleanor's silhouette would appear in the house. Eleanor wanted justice. Jane and Lisa decided to find out who caused Eleanor's death. After some investigation, they managed to contact the grandson of Eleanor's old lover. The man denied that his grandfather killed Eleanor, but upon Lisa and Jane's insistence, he showed them an old letter from his grandfather. The letter detailed his love affair with Eleanor and how he had pushed her into the well. After discovering this letter, Jane and Lisa reported the old murder to the police. But it did not bring peace to Eleanor's spirit. Eleanor's spirit continued to torment those living in the house. Jane decided to leave the house. Lisa, however, chose to stay and live with Eleanor's spirit. But a few months later, Lisa's neighbors never saw her again. Lisa's house, with Eleanor's story and the tales of those who tried to live with her spirit, became the most infamous haunted house in the area. And this story was passed down through generations. Once, in the mountains outside of town, there was an old mine. Locals referred to it as the Deep Well. What drew me to this place was the story of a miner named John who vanished within its depths. This story became a legend passed down through generations in our town. It was said that John had discovered something in the mine, and one morning when he went to work, he never returned. Some believed he got lost in the mine's maze-like tunnels, while others leaned towards more sinister, supernatural theories. This tale intrigued me so much that one day I decided to uncover the mysteries of the mine myself. Upon entering, I initially felt a light draft. The cold air seeping from the walls added an extra chill to the tunnel's darkness. Initially, everything was silent, with only the echo of my footsteps. However, as I progressed deeper, I began to hear a faint hum, followed by a sorrowful melody, and eventually sounds, resembling moans. In the depths of the mine, I found remnants of an old campsite. This area, showing signs of habitation, consisted of a worn-out tent, a burnt-out candle, and an old tattered diary. The diary belonged to John. Inside, it detailed John's experiences in the mine, the noises he heard, the shadows he saw, and an enigmatic stone door deep within the mine he had encountered. However, the last pages seemed to show him teetering on the edge of madness. I was determined to find this mysterious door. Upon reaching the mine's deepest chambers, I was confronted with a massive ancient stone door. In front of the door, I found a note on a worn piece of paper. "This is not a natural place. Turn back." But my curiosity overwhelmed all my fears. Pushing the door open, I was met with nothing but darkness. But this was no ordinary darkness. It was thick, almost tangible, and within it, I heard whispers in a language that felt millennia old. Suddenly, all these voices fell silent, and in the dense quiet, I felt something approaching from the depths of the darkness. I began to retreat hastily, but with every step I took, the presence seemed to get closer. Finally, I reached the exit of the mine and bolted outside, slamming the door shut. I vowed never to visit that mine again. From that day on, The haunting experience has followed me. Every night, I encounter that darkness in my dreams, and every time I wake up, I am reminded that some mysteries are better left undiscovered. Yet this secret now resides within me, reminding me nightly of the depths of the darkness.